Now, following weeks of public servants striking for a 12.5% wage increase, government says it's not moving from its final offer of 7.5%. Public servants say the cost of living for the poorer sector of the population is above the official 7% rate. Among the unions spearheading negotiations is the Public Servants Association. Let's get reaction on this from its national manager, Claude Naiker. Mr. Naiker, good morning and thank you very much for your time. So PSA is among the trade unions that sat in those negotiations. Just talk us through some of the outcomes.
Yes, thank you very much and good morning and thank you for having me. Yes, you're quite right. Government has issued its final offer at a special council meeting on the 17th of March. This is an average 7.5% pension belt salary increase for all public servants. It's a 2-year agreement that's currently on the table. What we have done, we've utilized the entire last week to actually take this offer back to our members so that we can get a mandate. There are a few unions that have participated in the negotiation process. They've also used the opportunity last week to try and canvass the members and actually get a mandate from its constituencies. I can confirm that the Public Servants Association has canvassed its members, and the majority of members that have participated in the mandating process has given us their overwhelming support to set the 7.5% average pensionable salary increase that's currently on the table. What this agreement currently entails is that the cash gratuity that they were receiving for the last 2 years, that will come to an end on the 31st of March this year. So what the government has done is taken that cash gratuity and converted it into a pensionable salary increase. And in addition to that, they've added 3.3%, which gives you a total of 7.5% average across all levels. And the second year of the agreement entails a salary increase in line with the CPI, in other words, in line with the inflation. However, there is a proviso for the second year. In the event that the projected inflation is above 6.5%, then the salary increase will be 6.5%. In the event that it's below 4.5%, then the salary increase for next year will be 4.5%. However, if the projected CPI is in between those two figures, in other words, in between 4.5 and 6.5, whatever the projected CPI, for example, if it is 5.8%, then public servants can expect an increase of 5.8% across the board next year. As I indicated, it's a 2-year agreement.
I'm glad that you took the time to break down that 7.5%, because there are already those unions that are saying it's actually not 7.5%, it's 3.3%. So what happens there? Because we've got some that are still adamant that they're not even getting that 7.5% that government says it's not budging from.
Let me just explain. If you'll recall that for the last 2 years, public servants were getting a cash gratuity or cash allowance. Now, that equated to a percentage. It was not a pensionable salary increase, meaning that that cash allowance didn't contribute to one's pension savings. What government has done is that for the last 2 years, it was indicated that no public servant will get less than 1,000 Rand after tax. So in other words, every public servant that got the cash gratuity for the last 2 years, they received 1,000 Rand net in their pockets after tax. So in order to achieve that, those at the lower end had to get in the region of 11%. That cash allowance equated to 11%. And those at the bottom end got in the region of 5-6%. So if you take the average for all the levels, then it equates to 4.2%. Sorry, 4.2%, yes. And if you add that to the 3.3% that government is currently offering, then you get in the region of 7.5% average increase all the levels. So that's how you get the 7.5%. The conversion of the cash gratuity into a pensionable allowance and the 3.3% that government is adding gives you a total of 7.5%.
So your constituency has indeed given you a mandate. Are there any residual matters that emanate from those negotiations that must still be addressed?
Yes, when we set out for negotiation, we decided to prioritize the salary increase as the first issue that we need to concentrate on. The second issue is the housing allowance, and government has committed himself that as soon as the salary negotiations is finalized, that we will start concentrating on the housing allowance, which is one of our demands that it must be increased to 2,500. There are a number of other ancillary issues. We've resorted that those must be negotiated at a normal council meeting. So once the signing of the wage increase takes place, and if there's a majority mandate on that, then we will concentrate on the other issues.
All right. Mr. Naiker, thank you very much for your time this morning.